All right. Hello, everybody. I'm so happy you're here. Happy Thursday. We are almost through all of July. So I just want to say congratulations. You've almost made it through July. We're just about in August, about to kick off the school year. Everything is just in flow for 2021. So I hope that you're feeling good. And I know that if you're here, if you showed up today, it's because you have some big goals. Like you're focused on getting fully booked by the end of the year. You're focused on growing and you have some big dreams for your business. So you're totally in the right place. And I'm really, really excited to talk about how to get fully booked by the end of this year. This topic is so dear to me because I think that getting fully booked can be really like abstract. It's kind of like this tangible goal that all stylists have, but we don't really know what that looks like. We don't really know how to make that happen. It's like, can I do it in 5 years? Can I do it in, 10 years? Like, when is it going to happen for me? So, in this live training today, you're going to walk away with some great tips and resources on how to make sure that you're making progress and how to tell if you're on the right track, if you're off the right track. So often we're kind of like winging things and just making them up. So I want to give you some things to be hyper focused on so you can really start making that progress. So, to start this off, I really want to kind of touch on a couple of the biggest mistakes that get in our way. And if you haven't seen my full live training on the common mistakes when getting fully booked, I recommend going back to that YouTube video and checking that out. But a couple of the ones that I want to talk about here are going to be the mistakes that we make that really set us back, or they make it feel more like treading water versus like, seeing those appointments stack, seeing the gaps on our schedule actually like shrink down. So, the first mistake when it comes to getting fully booked is not really focusing on getting new clients, which I feel like that's super counterintuitive because obviously a lot of why we're not fully booked is because we don't have enough clients, but still somehow we are just like, okay, if I just focus on my clients, I do really great hair, I'm gonna build just fine. It's gonna be enough. It's just to focus on showing up and doing good hair. And like, that's good. Like, we wanna make sure we're actually doing that. But you really need to be focusing on growing and having your system for growing and knowing how to grow and knowing how to attract new people instead of letting that kind of be just up to the random, color gods or whoever. The second mistake that I see happen a lot is just not even really defining what fully booked looks like for you. So, there's so many different specialties right now. Like a lot of us are specializing. I'm seeing even like a lot of session pricing or hourly pricing. And I think that as we're growing and choosing specialties and seeing more clients, it's important for us to define what fully booked is going to look like so that we can actually be moving in a direction that is like that. I mean, a lot of the reason why getting fully booked feels so intangible and like this mysterious, like golden gate at the end of a tunnel is because we're not really taking the time to really get it defined and know what that looks like. Like, how many clients would it be for me to be fully booked? I mean, that's kind of good information to know. Am I even on track to get fully booked by 2022 with how my building is currently going? So, really taking the time to do that, I think, is going to help you guys be on the right track. So, focusing on getting new clients and then really defining these numbers. So, knowing the common mistakes, let's go ahead and jump into 3 ways to be fully booked by the end of 2021. So, going into 2022. And if you guys don't know me, my name is Ren Lopa, and I'm the CEO and founder of Wolf and Rabbit Inc. And we've been helping salon owners and stylists reach high levels of success in this industry for the past 4 years. So I'm really, really proud to be here. I'm proud of our students, I'm proud of our clients. And if you come to a training before, you know what I'm about to say, but it's like study after study shows that people don't take action on free advice. And before I give you these juicy tips on getting fully booked by the end of this year, I want to just encourage you and say that I know you are not like everyone else. I know that you're not just going to hear this free advice and let it go in one ear and out the other, be like, okay, nice. You are going to implement it and you are going to let yourself see success. Okay. So keep that in mind as we start this conversation. And just know that you have a community of support like there for you. And I think a lot of the reason why this conversation is so important is because while fully booked looks the same on everybody, just meaning when we're fully booked, our schedule's packed, we're raising our prices, we're, you know, kind of weeding out our clientele, working on our schedule. Like, while that's the same for everybody, like how we get fully booked or the services that we're fully booked with are going to be really unique for everyone. So, a lot of times we might be comparing online. Have you ever compared with another stylist that you see? And you might think, oh my God, that must be working really well for her. Let me do that. Or, you're just comparing and maybe feeling bad, feeling behind, feeling guilty. But knowing these methods and like knowing what being fully booked will look like for you and tracking your progress is really going to support you in showing up better, but also just being happier. Like, it doesn't feel good to look around and feel or just wonder, am I behind? Am I missing something? Could I be doing this better? So, today's tips are going to support you in those ways. So, let's just get right into it. So, the first way that you can start getting fully booked by the end of this year is to really focus on building. Okay, so just like I said with the common mistakes, I see a lot of people just, again, thinking doing hair and doing a good job, doing good color, like busting out great colors is enough. Word is going to get around, right? Well, I post on social media often enough, like word's going to get around, it's going to be fine, but not really taking a lot of extra initiative past there. Maybe you've run ads before. Maybe you've I don't know. A lot of stylists I talk to are still depending a lot on word of mouth, on referrals from their clients, or just on like a pretty picture of hair on their Instagram to do all the work for them. But if you really want to get fully booked by the end of the year, you really need to make building and growing a priority. And so part of that is looking at what's worked for me before, where have I gotten the most clients from in the past, and then going all in with that. So a lot of the time we're, like I said, we're like looking around, we're comparing, we're seeing what everybody else is doing, and then we're kind of like half-assing that in our own business, right? We're kind of trying it but not really knowing how, instead of taking a step back and being like, okay, what's my money maker? How can I make, like, what has worked for me before, and really leaning into that and getting those great results time and time again. So, having your own system for getting clients that's predictable, that's consistent, that's easy to execute, that is really, really important. And I was just talking to a client this week about how a lot of the time our motivation actually depends on our moods, right? So, like, when we're in the mood, we can be like all in and almost like hyper focused and obsessed and like doing awesome. But when we're not in that mood, then we're not taking any action, or we're really not being consistent and we're not seeing those opportunities. So, having a game plan for getting clients that doesn't count on your moods, that doesn't count on you feeling like it, but that is predictable and simple. That is key in getting you there, getting you to this fully booked point that you want to be. Okay, so that's number one, is focus on building your clientele. So number two is going to be consistently rebooking your clients, okay? And I know you guys have heard about rebooking before, but I'm still, when I meet with my students, a lot of them are like, well, they come back. It's like I don't have a problem with retention, but I'm not rebooking them. And so, what I want to talk to you about is like, as we're getting fully booked, obviously being booked hinges on having your appointments already set up, right? So, rebooking is a part of that, having those appointments being able to stack and be reserved. But did you guys know that when people don't rebook, they typically visit the salon 2 times less per year? Okay, so this can look like them realizing their hair needs to be, it's time to come back and waiting a week or two to get in, realizing just after it's way too long, but they come to the salon less. And when you think about that on a scale of like one client, it's like, okay, that's maybe like $300 a year. But if you think about it on a scale of 50 clients, 90 clients. I mean, that's a lot of money that is getting left on the table. And so, what's really important with acknowledging that is that if we're going to be fully booked, we have to be able to have these conversations about getting our clients back in and them really understanding why they need to be back in, what the value is in it for them to do that. So, if we're not consistently rebooking people, even if they come back to us, like even if we didn't lose them, we're still losing money and we're still going to have that water treading feeling instead of actually gaining traction with getting fully booked because people are going to call us the week of. You can't really be fully booked if everyone's calling you the week of for the next, you know what I mean? It doesn't stack like that. So, getting in the habit of really having those conversations with your clients and getting those appointments secured is going to be awesome for you. And then the last piece here is really understanding your numbers. And I know that many hairstylists have like ADHD, dyslexia, like got into this industry because they're more creative and not so much focused on, numbers and all of that kind of thing. But knowing your numbers, I would argue that it is nearly impossible to achieve something that you can't define. Okay? Like if you can't define it, it's going to really be hard to reach it. And it's especially going to be hard to reach it in a time frame that you want. So if you're like, okay, I want this to happen by next month, how do I do that? I want you to know exactly how to do that. Now, is that realistic that you're going to get that many new clients and make that happen that fast? No, but you should know your numbers well enough to be able to define that. So, for you, what would it look like for you to have enough new business coming in, enough clients rebooking in order to actually be fully booked by January 2022? There is a way to calculate that. So, taking a step back, really understanding your numbers and getting that done is huge. And I know that this isn't for the faint of heart. And so, I've made it like really, really easy for you. I created a $7 kit. So, $7, you guys. This is like less than your Starbucks drink. And it is called Fully Booked in 6 months. And it literally has a calculator. And you type in your numbers, and it tells you exactly how many clients you would need a week in order to get to that point. So, in that training, too, I talk a lot more about getting fully booked, the barriers that get in the way, and how to use that calculator to your benefit, but also like how to kind of use it just for peace of mind. You know what I mean? Like you're probably doing better than you think you are. And sometimes that's all we need to know because that like not knowing feeling, that feeling of like, I think I'm doing the right things, but I don't know. When that's how you're feeling about your business, it's really hard, especially if you have a life that you miss when you're at work. You know what I mean? Like, if you're missing out on things in your life when you're working and then you feel like your work isn't fulfilling you or You can't tell if you're even doing it the right way or am I growing? It is a struggle emotionally. And owning a business is already a really deep struggle on like an emotional level. So it's important. Knowing the numbers is a really big deal. So allow yourself to understand your numbers. And I know that's not sexy. Okay. I know this isn't like sexy and fun, but you can make it fun. And you know what is sexy is having financial freedom. What is sexy is like reaching your goals and being able to raise your prices and work less. Now that is sexy. So, like, having a moment where you can calculate things and be empowered to figure it out so that you're set up to take real action. I mean, it's life changing. It's literally life changing. So, in the comments and in the description, you can learn more about that $7 kit. And in there, let yourself have that freedom. So, those are ways to be booked by the end of this year. So, just to recap everything, I have focus on building. So, this is going to be having a game plan for getting clients that's predictable, that's consistent, not like, well, I think people refer people to me every month. I don't really know. So, something consistent you can do. Focus on rebooking your clients, making sure they're really not only like for your business, but for your clients. Nobody likes to walk around and feel like their hair needed to be done a week ago. Okay. So this is in everyone's benefit, but rebooking your clients. And then lastly, really committing to understanding your numbers and making that path to your goal, which that's like everyone's goal is to be fully booked. Like actually making that path to your goal really crystal clear. So you know, okay, I'm not at that level yet, but at the rate I'm going, I can be fully booked in 2 years. And that's still exciting to me. Like focusing on this stuff will really help you have clarity in what you're doing when so much of what we do doesn't feel clear. So, yeah, I hope that this has helped you guys have some ideas, some inspiration, a little bit of motivation to kind of get out there and handle this and grow a business like a business owner, right? Like, that's nice. That's nice to do. So, thank you all so much for coming. If you enjoyed this stream, please go ahead and hit like or subscribe. Leave me a comment below with what you're taking away from this, what action you're going to implement. And otherwise, I will see you all next week. So, thank you.